Okay, so here I have everything to build my rig. All the stuff I got from Amazon. Almost everything here is from the checklist that you can see. So I'm just going to go over all the different parts here real quick. I'm going to use this as part of the build that I'm going to create. I'm going to build the basic 1 GPU rig. For this I've only got a 1060 over here. It's from my old computer, and this is just to show, I'm just going to show you guys how to build a rig just from a pile of parts. And then say if you only put 1 GPU in, you should be able to add in as many as you want. Well, actually up to 6, right? So, or however many PCI slots you have. So let's just go down the list here. So I have a scan disk here, and the reason I have this is to put the operating system on. I don't think you need 32 gigabytes, but it wasn't too much. I think this was like 20 bucks or something like that. And it's USB 3, so it should move data pretty nicely. Anyway, so the next thing I have here that's kind of different is I have a DVD-ROM drive, and I use this for the drivers. So say that if I have CDs or CD drivers for the graphics cards, I connect this to the motherboard to download those drivers, and for me it's just easier. And this thing is like, I think 20 bucks or something like that. And you can use this for all the rigs you have. You know, you just bring this around and download the software. Again, that was not necessary, but you can have it. So the other thing I have is the SSD. And some people use flash drives for this, for the hard drive, but I like to use a SSD. 120 gigs is kind of a lot. You probably only need about 40, but this is the same one I think that I posted on the spreadsheet, so it's not too expensive. Something else is this is the power on-off switch. So like on your computer, you'll have, like your home desktop, you'll have your on-off switch just on the outside of your case, right? And so what this does, this plugs into some pins on your motherboard. Those pins are kind of hard to find, and I struggled with that the first time I built a rig, but I'll help show you guys how and where to do that, right? So another thing I have is these fans here, 120, I guess, millimeter fans. Yeah, so the 6 GPU rig should take, I think, 5 of these guys. Another one is the RAM. Someone was saying you need up to 8 gigs of RAM to install Windows, or they suggest that amount. Anyway, this is the RAM that I have from Amazon. It was the top recommended one. I don't remember how much. I think it was like 60 to 80 bucks or somewhere in there. So it was a pretty decent deal. And then the motherboard, I went with the Gigabyte motherboard. For the 6 GPU rig, I'll show a picture here. You see it has you can see those slots. You want to make sure there's 6 slots, 1 for each card, when you pick your motherboard out. I'm not sure it really matters which one you get, because you're just going to use it for mining. I haven't really heard that any bad problems with getting a cheap motherboard. So anyway, another thing is you want your PCI adapters for your graphics card. I got a pack of 6 of these guys. They're just back in here in this little box here, but yeah, make sure you have these. We'll go over how to install these. Right here, this big box here is the frame. It's a 6 GPU frame. Again, we're building a rig that can fit up to 6 graphics cards, specifically 6 1080 Ti's. A very important piece you're going to need for doing this, if you get 2 power supplies and do the 1080 Ti's, is this 24-pin splitter. And this allows you to power on all of your cards and yet still have your motherboard communicate with everything. I had some issues with this, and some of my cards were working and some of them weren't. So this is a very key piece here. And again, I'll go over how to do that. So last thing I think on here is the power supplies. I got these guys. Now if you look down here, it's got all of these different ports. You want to make sure you have as many of these guys as you can get. So try to find power supplies that have lots of these ports so you can fit lots of the power into all the graphics cards. Anyway, here's the parts list. Oh, and by the way, I have 2 of those for this build. Each graphics card is going to take about 300 watts, and the total, 1800 watts-ish is what your rig is going to take when it's spinning. And that's including running the motherboard and everything else. When I ran mine, it was at about 17 to 1800 watts, just under 1800 watts. So, just under 300 watts. But I would be sure you have enough power. I wouldn't want to stress these things to capacity because you're going to be running your rig 24/7. Who knows about power spikes and stuff. But anyway, here is the stuff I'm going to put in. And yeah, I plan to do this step by step and kind of explain what to do. So if you've never done this before, I'll try to help go through all of the problems and issues that you might have and show you what works best for me. So yeah, here we go.